right, guys, this is Emmett Stallworth, the Alpha Builder. If you guys, hey, right now, guys, go ahead and, smash that like button. Or better yet, hit the subscribe. I got a little subscribe. I think it's over on this side right here. But hit that. But let's jump right into this right here. We get into this. I think we may be a few weeks away from having a new president. And these are some of the talking points. And one candidate is talking about $25,000 for home buyers. I'm going to tell you, man, as a builder, that would really stimulate the economy. It'll make my life beautiful. I mean, because people are going to be out there buying houses. That's going to happen. That will stimulate. $25,000 for everybody. But let's look at the big picture. The big picture, guys, is that, and I'm speaking as a builder, what's going to happen is houses across the board are just going to increase by $25,000. There's not going to be any additional amenities. There's not going to be anything that money is not going to go to the homeowners on getting more amenities or getting more house or doing better or getting a bigger. No, guys, the builders are just going to increase their cost of houses by $25,000 because they know that if something like that happens, if that's government mandated, then they know that money is there. The builders know that money is there and it's being backed by the U.S. government. Very similar to how the banks did things in 2007 with the crash. They knew that money was backed by the government. So the banks created all these ninja loans is what they call them. These loans that lure you in with these arms on you. These arms on these loans that, after a certain time, they ballooned out and the people couldn't afford to be in the houses anymore. And what's going to end up happening if everybody get $25,000 for buying a house is you're going to flood the market. So the government, you got to understand that this money is just not going to come out of the thin air. When there's a candidate that's saying that we're going to give people $25,000 to get their house, they got to get that money from somewhere. So what's going to happen is they're going to borrow it. The U.S. government is going to borrow it from the Federal Reserve System, which is it's not federal at all. It has nothing. It's not a United States banking system. It's a privately owned bank system, owned by probably 12 of the largest families on the planet. But this is, and I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theory, but we're going to actually. The U.S. government is going to borrow that money to give to these people to buy their houses, and we're going to have to end up, me and our kids are going to have to end up paying that interest that we borrowed, the interest that we borrowed from the Federal Reserve. We're going to have to pay that back, which we're already in a situation where we probably can't pay it back now. It's probably mathematically impossible to pay the national debt back right now, even if we pivot 180 degrees. I don't know. It's a big number, trillions. So this is what's going to happen. And with all that money being flooded into the economy, supply and demand, guys, let's think about it. Supply and demand. If you got more money into the system again, then what that does is that takes the dollar that we already have out there and it shrinks its buying power even more. So now when you go to the grocery store, you're spending $300 on a buggy of groceries. Now it's going to take $400. And this is not going to just happen overnight. It's going to take about 3 to 4 years for it to set in place. And see, we're not going to know that this is going to happen until about 4 years, and we're going to feel the effects. Guys, from a builder standpoint, if that happened, hey man, it'll make builders happy. I mean, we'll get richer than we probably ever gotten before. But it's not good overall. This is not going to be something that's going to really, in my opinion, is going to help. Well, not my opinion. This is just fact. It's just fact. This right here is no different than the government jumping into giving money to college students or doing government loans or doing loans for student loans. See, when the government jumps in there and they back those student loans, well, what happened? The colleges know that that money is being backed by the U.S. government. So what does the colleges do? They didn't change the education. You still get the same education, but they increased the tuition costs. Now, if you look at today's time, right now, back when I first started school back in the 80s, I went to college back in the end of the 80s. Guys, I could pay my own tuition. I was working at a fast food restaurant at Wendy's, and I could pay my own tuition. Now, even with what I'm doing now, guys, it's tough. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. My daughter, if my daughter didn't get a scholarship for cheering and band at UAB, that would have been unbearable for me. Because I was even still paying about $4,000 a semester. And she was staying at home with us. Tuition is almost 300 to 400% higher than it was when I was in school because government jumped into the picture, guys. Guys, we got, the government would just get out the way and let free enterprise and capitalism take its course. Let these colleges, let these builders, these home builders, if you want to sell to the mass majority of people, which is where you make the bulk of your money, then the builder got to figure that out. You got to figure out how to get your costs down. Well, if you just give people $25,000, that builder just gonna bump. All the builders just gonna bump their houses up by $25,000 across the board without anything else because they know it's backed by the government. I think this is a bad idea as a whole. All right, guys, like, share, subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Help me get this information out to everybody. And guys, hey, here's the thing, guys. I'm not on either. Some people are like, oh man, you must be a Trump supporter. No. And I know when you, especially my people, when you say something about Trump, they'll just shut everything else after you say anything else. They'll shut it off. They don't even want to hear it. I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not a guy that's sitting here telling everybody, hey man, Trump. I'm not that guy. It's just, I look at the policy and I look at fact and logic, especially being a ex-math teacher. Well, I'm kind of sort of math teacher now. But guys, let me know what your thoughts. Comment, guys. Comments have been helping me come up with more content. All right, you guys have a good one. Thanks.